Hello, everyone. Every neon. All right, so what are we doing today? This video is kind of a play on the concept of a forever world. This is a growing trend in Minecraft content creator spaces, and people are like, "Oh, you should have a forever world that you constantly build on, and it should be like your main big project." I want to add to that. I want to add on that you could have a forever world, yes, but what I prefer to have is something called a peaceful world. And if you're an OG Minecraft player, then you probably remember one content creator named Ant Venom. I mean, I think he still does stuff nowadays. I don't really watch Minecraft content creators anymore, but back when I watched him, he had what was called a peaceful world. And he would just constantly add things to it, constantly have different projects he would add to it. And I think that concept is really fun, but and it's in creative mode, right? So, where's the fun or the challenge or the hook to it that you would have with a forever world or like a hardcore forever world or something like that? Well, I did my own spin on this, at least not that I could tell from other people. What my forever world is, what my peaceful world is a ongoing, basically, catalog and archive of all of my major builds, while still having its own like unique twist on what I add and don't add. So I'm wondering, there it goes. Yeah. It was perfect timing actually with the sunset. So I have this big wall here that, activates its lights all the way down the path. And then I have this bridge here that kind of leads to nothing all the way down there with lights that turn on automatically at nighttime. It's not a complicated build or anything, but it's a unique little thing that, I add to this world to make it my own. And this world did start as a survival world, but that survival world was I do remember the version of the game I played this on. It was Minecraft Beta 1.8 pre-release 1. So before 1.8 ever came out in the year 2011, I started making a world that, had that eventually would become this one. Some built in survival, some built in creative. That is true. There are some buildings here, like this castle here, I built in survival. I added a little bit of like decorations and like chips and everything. Like, you get better at building, the more you play this game. But this whole thing right here, that was made in creative. This was made in, no, this was made in survival. Actually, sorry, I believe this was made in creative because this tower went to the original build limit, like the original world height build limit. And I understand that there's a lot going on here, and there's a lot I could be talking about, like what the fuck is happening over there? Like, there's a lot I can talk about. And I think the best way to start off sort of walking through this whole area, I guess, is just kind of talking about this little area right here. Because this is the original world, right? Of course, it didn't have dark oak wood as the floorboards. It was just regular oak wood. I added the dark oak later. And, these winding paths all down here. This door in here that we'll get to eventually. This castle. This castle was built in survival. I remember this. I had my Samsung laptop at the time running Windows 7. I transferred all these worlds from a Windows 7 laptop. And I believe I was playing this world on... No, there was one part of this world that I built on an airplane. I do remember that, so we'll get to that eventually. And we have this big map over here, actually. I just remembered. I just thought about this. This video is basically just going to be me touring this world, basically, and talking about all of the cool shit that I've added to it, especially nowadays. I already have done a video talking about this creative world and all the stuff I've done with it, but there has been some ongoing developments and some really cool stuff I've been adding to it, so we will talk about that for sure. It's actually been recent enough to where I haven't updated the maps at all, so we might do that at the end of this video, if I remember. We shall see. But another thing that I want to talk about while I'm walking around this world, I'll talk about notable things as they come up, but the main thing I want to talk about in this video is just the growing discontent, I guess, in the gaming industry at large. This is definitely not from the original world. We'll talk about that one later. And something that I want to gently push back on. I want to talk about the idea of just being able to miss out, right? Because missing out nowadays is so weaponized in a lot of industries, not just the gaming industry, but in so many industries, that it becomes impossible to avoid. And there's always going to be something you're missing out. Oh. Uh-oh, I think I broke something. Hello? Did I break something? No, I didn't. Good. Missing out is just kind of like the default state, right? Fuck, I ruined that. And it sucks. It really does suck that, you know, our own want to belong into a community gets like so weaponized the way that it does. But I mean, that's just business, right? So, what can we do about it? Like, how do we avoid a situation like this? How do we like basically take back our own desire, right? What the heck did this even go to? Oh, it was this. Sorry, I'm also like trying to fix my redstone as we're working on this stuff. I'm thinking about this stuff and I'm thinking about what I'm going to say next. So this is all off the cuff, by the way. This is all being recorded live and it's all just me talking off the cuff and what I think and what I've observed. It's just FOMO shit, right? And like you don't need to be a part of the latest thing. You don't need to buy the latest games. You don't need to buy the latest hardware, right? And this, you know, can be talked about in all kinds of other different industries and all that stuff. And it's not unique to video games at all, especially with the recent economic turns, I guess, the economic turmoil that we're about to go through and are currently going through. And the question obviously is like, well, what can be done about that? You know, like what can we do to make this a little bit better on ourselves? What can we do to fix things? And truth be told, I don't think there's really a way to fix it, at least not from our level, right? There could be a way to fix it, right? But it's not going to be immediately fixed, right? When I say the word fix, it's not going to be like fixed in a day. This is shit that's going to be, you know, we're going to be handling this stuff for years, right? Like it's an economic recession. Like you can't just fix that in a day. But what can you do as like a normal person? And truth be told, I'm not an economist. You know, I'm not someone who understands how this shit works. I'm not someone who knows how to save money or invest or anything. Like, bro, I just started a job at a fucking grocery store, right? And I'm ecstatic about it because I'm making enough money that I think I'll be able to be good. I'm not going to go into how much that is, but it's certainly better than the job I had, you know, for the past 3 years. And I'm excited about that, but that's not something everybody's going to be able to do, right? So I think what we could be doing is we just stop caring. And what do I mean by that? So hype sells, right? Hype sells a lot. But hate sells way more than hype. And getting mad at... I understand that I recently just made a video about how angry I was about the recent Nintendo Switch game prices. And talking about how the pricing for the Switch 2 and all those games and stuff, it's a bit extreme. But after, you know, reflecting on that video for a little bit and thinking about, like, you know, what I said and what I could be doing in this video and all that stuff, it led me eventually to make this video. And, you know, hate and anger and hype, all those things sell units. They sell things for us to... it's stuff for us to engage with, right? Because we're in the economy of attention, right? With the internet and everything, it's basically an economy of attention. It doesn't matter. It's why people like Jake Paul and Logan Paul and Fucking all these people can, and grums. It's why these people are like pseudo famous, right? It's not because they do anything good or because they contribute to society or they do anything remotely valuable. It's because people get angry at them, and it's easy to be angry at them, and they make it easy to be angry at them. So what we can do is we can just give back a little bit of apathy. You know? What do I mean by that? Well, you don't need to get the latest Monster Hunter game. I still don't. I still haven't played the latest Monster Hunter. I probably will eventually, but it's not going to be like, I might get it sometime soon, right? But I don't know if I'll make videos on it. I don't know if I should make videos on it because I don't know if that's okay to do, right? A game that nobody can run, a game that nobody can afford. Why would I do that to people? Why would I make that kind of content? Because it's just, yeah, I'll have fun making the video and everything, but I'm not going to... Howard the chicken, I forgot I did that. I'm in a unique position, right? And you know, I'm certainly not the most influential person on YouTube or anything, but you know, I recognize that my words carry a little bit of influence, and I should be using that influence in a positive light. I should be doing things that could positively affect people's lives. I should be doing things that reflect on the mental state that I want. You know, be the change you want to see in the world, right? Like that kind of meme. And so in a few videos that I've done, I've been talking a lot about indie games. I've been talking a lot about, you know, smaller projects. I've been talking a lot about switching to Linux, which, by the way, this whole video is being recorded and played on in Linux. It's all fine to do that. And you know, I want more people to be aware. It's not about like making people switch over or saying that you have to for, you know, for a better mental state or like take back control of your life by switching to Linux. It's like, that's extreme, right? It's clickbait shit that people will obviously interact with because, again, economy of attention, right? I actively refuse to be... I try my best to not be clickbaity. I try my best to not be overtly engagement baiting, right? And I don't really talk about like, hey, you should subscribe here. And if I do, I make a joke about it, right? But it's not, I find that annoying because it's like, I also have to recognize that it's not just my experience making the content and uploading the content, but I also have to think about the people out there watching the content. And, you know, I feel like 2 weeks per video is a good time frame for you to do all the things you need to do, catch up on this video, and then you'll be ready for the next one in a couple weeks. Oh my god, yeah, so this was built in the first... So, 2012, when the first jungle snapshot came out, I built this on the laptop. This used to be a survival world, and now it is, I've transferred it over to the creative world, and it was built in like sort of this valley almost, with all these jungle trees around it, and then, you know, this house is a jungle tree house. I built that floating island in survival, and all these little guys in survival. Excuse me. And yeah, like, it was a lot of fun. So, what I'm getting at is we should be more apathetic, I think, but not towards each other. We should be apathetic towards things that don't matter. At least, you know, in terms of our lives, right? Like, we're just, what the fuck is he doing up there, brother? Come on, get down. There we go. No, come on. There we go. Cool. So, the latest games that are coming out, the latest, like, you know, piece of technology, the latest whatever, right? It doesn't matter. You don't need the biggest GPU. You don't need to play the latest games. Like, you can just you play indie games. You have a retro catalog. I'm sure that half of you watching right now have a backlog or have hi Gizmo, have a backlog of games that you've been meaning to play for years. Well, I think this is the perfect time to get into that. I certainly have a backlog, an irresponsibly large backlog, and I know for a fact a lot of you have gone through Steam sales and have been like, oh, this game's like $3. Why not? Let's just grab it. Hey, play that game. Why not? And these are things that I'm comfortable talking about. These are things that I'm knowledgeable enough to share about and all that stuff, right? If you have your own idea of how to move forward, absolutely. Fucking go wild. Go hog wild, dude. It is not my place to... Oh my god. Okay, so that's 2013 me humor. Back when the internet was different and my whole personality was different. What? How far down does this mine shaft go? Pretty damn far. Cool. And obviously, that leads back into why I'm recording this video, walking around my forever world, my peaceful world in Minecraft. It's about, I think what I'm trying to get at here, what I'm very poorly trying to talk my way through right now, is you could be doing a lot to better yourself and the people around you. And I think that's what we should be doing, right? Even though I have a small reach on the internet, even though I have a small group of friends, even though I fully recognize that my own impact is small, right? But if I could make an impact on someone's life positively, I'm going to try to do that. Whether it be someone in my life or it be someone like you watching this video or anything else, right? It's still important to try to do that. And recognize that your own actions have impact. And I think that's another thing that people are getting caught in. It's like a lot of people are just seeing all this shit happening and seeing like this global stability and saying, what's the point? Why would I even get up in the morning when, a tweet from a guy can make the stock market soar and then crash all over again in the span of 72 hours or however short, maybe it was 48 hours. I don't even know. We'll get to that in a second. Even if your impact is small, you still have an impact, right? We all have an impact. And it's important for us to recognize that and remind ourselves that, like, impacting one person is still having an impact, right? Is still being able to do things. Is this the idea board? Oh my god, it is the idea board. Quarry, a mining town near Quarry. Yeah. Oh yeah. And this whole section right here. Do I have a sign for this? Here we go. The Bizmo. Abby pissed me off with this one. There's actually a little story with this. So my sister Abby, she built this tree and this little gazebo and everything, and she did all this stuff. And it's a really nice build, and I wanted to keep it here. Here's the thing about this build though. She spent 2 hours building this tree. Just this one tree. I got so angry at her that I decided to take a shower in the middle of it, and I came out of the shower and she was still building this fucking tree. So, and it's got the little A right there. It looks like a little A. That's cute. I forgot we did this. So, yeah, she pissed me off with this one. But yeah, no, like our impact is still our impact, even if it's a small impact. And oh yeah, the Funkin' Farm. This was another single player world of mine, this whole big like farmland area that I made. We'll walk through it a little bit and then we'll keep talking. That's something that I personally have struggled with for a while now. But in recent years, even though things are getting a lot harder for everyone, including myself, right? It's not like I have a like I definitely whatever. Things have gotten harder for everybody, right? And it's important to recognize that you matter, right? And you have value. It might not be to the scale of someone like, I don't know, fucking what's a big person like Alpharad. I don't know. I just picked a random person. Your impact might not be the same as someone like Alpharad or another YouTuber that you watch, but you still have people in your life. You still have loved ones. You still have friends and family, I hope. And you should be doing things to better your own life and better those around you. You should be going out. You should be doing things. You know, you shouldn't be worrying about, and when I say doing things, I don't mean like going to extravagant dinners or doing like this big fucking influencer style shopping spree or whatever. And it's like people, oh man, that shit has also been fucking weaponized. Going out has been fully weaponized by people who act against your own self-interest, because going out to a lot of people now is buying things. And that sucks. That actually just fucking sucks. And I wish that wasn't the case. Because, hello? Oh, I guess I fucked up the water here too. Going out can be so many different things, right? It could just be like fucking pirating a movie and just watching it on Discord, right, with your friends. It could be you don't even need to buy anything, but going to like a local card shop or a local game shop or something. Just going there semi-regularly and just being a part of that little community there, getting to know the people who work there. Even if you don't buy anything, that's still an impact, right? Because the people working there, they may see a lot of people, you know, X number of days. They may see X number of people a given day, but having a conversation with like-minded people, that's different. That's a different kind of impact. And you can do that, you know? You can come out of your shell a little bit. You can improve your life while also making their day a little bit better too, right? I'm not, you know, I don't know your situation. I don't know where you live. I don't know what kind of life you lead. I don't know who's in your life, who's not in your life. I don't know. And that's fine also. But I'm, may you rest and never return. I forgot I made this. Just a little forested area that looks kind of cool. So I like I said, I don't know what your fucking life is. And that's fine, you know? I'm giving examples of like what you could be doing. Instead of being on social media. And that's another big thing I want to get into. Fucking social media, dude. Social media has poisoned so many people, especially young people, because they don't know, man. You know, I'm thankful that I'm able to properly teach my sisters, you know, not to fall into a lot of these traps. And I'm thankful that you know, only sometimes do they, like, obviously they have to learn, right? But I do my best to try to help my sisters understand that, like, social media isn't real, right? And it doesn't matter. I built this one on an airplane. Hey, here we go. Here's the little village that I built on an airplane just randomly, with just these little buildings here and there. The fishless aquarium. And that's Ocean Larry right there. You know, everyone's impact is still everyone's impact. It's because, like, I guess what I'm trying to get at. What the fuck? Sheep. Hold on. I was about to kill it, but hold on. Can I just... Here, so you don't die from fall damage. There you go. What am I even getting at? Like, just... It actually... I think a lot of it can be just boiled down to, man, you wouldn't be so brain hurty if you were always on that damn phone. Just put the damn phone down, right? I guess that's another big thing that I can get into. Put the phone down. You know what I want you to do? Make this your last YouTube video for the day. Whatever you're doing, make this your last video. And put YouTube down and do something else, you know? Play a game that you haven't played in a while. We'll get into replaying games here in a little bit. I want to talk about that. Read a book. Fucking listen to an album. Just stew on your own thoughts for a little bit. I know that's scary, especially nowadays, but, you know, that could help you. Do anything other than watch YouTube. And this is something that I still personally struggle with. It's something that I've, like, you know, been thinking about for a while. I've done, like, little self-imposed challenges for myself of, like, giving up YouTube for X number of days, seeing what would happen if I did that. Some of it was successful, some of it was not so successful, and, you know, ultimately I just kind of relapsed back into my own habits, because that's jumpathy, because that's kind of what habits are, is that a lot of these services and a lot of these things that exist nowadays exist purely to get you forming habits. And the more you recognize the habit building that a lot of these things are built on. Is there a sign for this build? Did I put down a sign for this one? I don't think I did. I gotta do that. Okay. I gotta remember what year this fucking build was made in. This is another survival world of mine. I know that this was in a snapshot. Again, this is one of the older snapshots from the laptop. And I like the netherrack sort of fading into existence. We'll get into an improved version of this concept later on, hopefully. I've been going for 25 minutes. Jesus Christ. What was I even talking about? Putting down social media, probably. I don't know. That's the thing. I obviously want to make this video coherent. I obviously want to make this video watchable. And, you know, if that means just sitting here talking with you and just making it a little bit easier, that's fine. You know, this video isn't a big edited video. It's not going to be one with a bunch of flashy effects everywhere. It's not going to be one that, you know, I'm going to be clickbaiting or doing a lot of big, like, edited shit with it, because it's a wither. Yeah, I forgot I made this. It's like the wither flower is like sapping away all the stuff in this little fucking thing. This whole thing was made in creative. I know that for sure. I had like accents and little Easter eggs and stuff onto my previous builds, and I sort of add on to it. You know what I mean? Like, this whole mine shaft did not exist in the original version of the survival world over here. I added this later in creative, so we're going through a mixture of like creative builds and survival worlds and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm just kind of assessing what I've said and where I could go next. Another thing, actually. You know what? We'll go back a little bit. Replaying games is something that it's not really something people do anymore. At least not that I'm noticing. If you still replay games, like, let me know, because like I used to think it was a bad habit of mine where I would only play games that I played as a kid, and I would only like be replaying games like Pikmin or Dark Souls 1 or I didn't play Dark Souls 1 as a kid, but you know what I'm getting at. Like, I would replay a lot of games. Like, just yesterday, I wasted an entire day playing Terraria instead of doing the work I should have been doing, right? I think it's fine to replay games. Like, if you really enjoyed God of War 2018 or God of War Ragnarok, like, that should be okay for you to replay that game. I don't know. It's something I don't see talked about much, and I think there's like a stigma around it. It's like, oh, you know, you play one game and then it's like, okay, on to the next one in the backlog. And it's like, yeah, it's good that you're getting through your backlog and everything, but you shouldn't make it a fucking job. You know what I mean? You should just enjoy the games that you have at your own pace. And that's fine to do that. I don't know. I don't know how people play games anymore, because I recognize that a lot of my tastes and sensibilities and habits are just very different to what the vast majority of people do. Right? Here's the big fucking build. You know what? I want to show this one off properly. We're gonna do a little bit of a reset, and we'll go back and we'll show that one off through the minecart track that I had. Oh yeah, and this little fucking ridge thing that I built over here. That looks nice. I'm coming back to a lot of these builds after I haven't logged onto this world in a few months. 6+ months, probably. So I'm coming back to a lot of these like accents and little builds that I've done, and it's just like, oh yeah, I did a pretty good job with that one. Something, I mean, we can also talk about like, hey, it's okay to praise yourself. You know, that's something that I've been struggling with a lot recently. I mean, for a long while in my life, I would get like, honestly, to this day, I still get kind of upset when people give me praise for something. It doesn't matter what it is, just for anything. I still kind of get upset about that. Oh, here, look at this. Wow. big quarry zone. Wow. And then we'll climb up. No clip. And then we'll climb up to this little house right here. And this is the original world spawn. Right here in this house is where the original world spawn is. And what's cool, excuse me, is with the mod pack that I have, you can make the grass be the same bright lime green grass as in an alpha world. And I was like, you know what? Hey, hamburger. Wait, does that say hamburger? Hamburger. Cool. So yeah, it's a little alpha spire, I guess, that's been mined out in its entirety. And you got this big ass wall right here and this big thing over here and a crane with a platform that's like bringing up a bunch of materials from the quarry. What was this bridge called again? It's the High and Scared Bridge because it's made out of fucking chains. Oh my goodness. I forgot I made this. Oh yeah, to this day I still kind of get mad when people praise me, and it's something I've been working on. You know, it's actually kind of tough to be able to give yourself a little bit of slack here and there, right? And a lot of the times I don't really cut myself a whole lot of slack. Just recently, a video of mine did pretty poorly compared to the work I put into it, and my immediate reaction is just like, damn, that video must have sucked. That video just didn't do well, or I fucked up somewhere, I did something wrong, and it took a lot to convince myself that's like, no, that video was kind of goated. It's probably the best video I've ever done, but effort put in does not equate to, you know, rewards taken out, unfortunately, especially here on YouTube. Like, I put like a solid month into that games with weird controls video. If this is the first time you're ever seeing me on YouTube, hey, allow me to do a little bit of self-promotion real quick and let you know that one of my best videos I've ever done is a pretty recent upload. So you can go watch that. Would be nice. I probably, fuck it, I'll have like a little link in the description to it if I remember. If I don't remember, yell at me in the comments and I will fix that. Because I probably won't remember. This video has been going on for a while now. But yeah, it's all about just kind of going easy on yourself and going easy on a lot of things. And I understand that there's a lot to be stressed about. And it's not that you should be carefree entirely, because there's still shit you got to worry about. There's still work to be done. You still got to do your job. You still got to pay your fucking bills, right? And having a happy-go-lucky, carefree life is not conducive to making money, unfortunately. And you know, you got to do what you got to do. But at the same time, don't stress yourself out over video games, man. It's not fucking worth it. Just play the games you play, have a good time with the people in your life, and you don't need to worry about it, you know? And because this is kind of the area I know, you know? I know video games. I know the gaming industry. I've been following video games pretty damn closely ever since 2008, 2007. It was around the time the Wii was coming out. I started learning about like what video games are and like the greater industry and everything, and like watching E3 and shit. I remember as a kid I was watching E3, and that was super unheard of. I remember all the other like the normal kids, quote unquote. What the fuck is over there? Oh, I remember what's over there. We'll get to that. All the normal kids in my school were like kind of basically laughing at me. The fact that I would be able to rattle off like, oh yeah, you know, this is the thing that's coming out here for the Wii, and this is the Mario thing you can do, and like I would read magazines every fucking second I could. Nintendo Power. I was glued to Nintendo Power, dude. And a lot of those kids would basically just laugh at me. I think this is just kind of unfinished. I think I'm gonna redo this one. Yeah, this was supposed to be Fort Bunker. I remember this. So yeah, fuck. I need to completely redo this building. I don't know. I might add something here. I might replace this with a completely different build. Who knows? Let me get a boat real quick. We'll get this. There we go. What was I talking about? Yeah, the normal kids are basically laughing at me, right? So, like, whenever I give advice on something, want to try building underwater. Yeah, the underwater farm. I remember that. So it's like it's even hard for me right now to even give advice on this sort of stuff, because every time I try to give advice and like what my outlook is and stuff like this, I get a lot of not a lot of, but I get some pushback of just like, that's not a real answer. Nobody does things the way that you do. And it's like, yeah, fair. People don't do things the same way I do. Squibs. Just throw a whole raw chicken in there. It's funny. Did I name this squid? Or did it just naturally spawn? What the fuck does that say? Kenneth Jr. Okay. Sure, why not? Why the fuck not? Yeah, no, I recognize that I don't do things considered normal to a lot of people, and that's fine, right? I mean, hey, fuck, if you're sitting here watching 36 minutes into this video of me talking about nothing while walking around a Minecraft world, like, you probably aren't normal either. So, hey, it's fine that none of us are considered normal, right? And I don't know, it's just kind of being okay with that is something that you gotta work at, and you have to like understand. What the fuck? Oh yeah, so this was my original skin. I originally had a companion cube for a head, and I guess I just added that just because why not? Nowadays I am I have the Bizmo skin on here. You know what? F5. There we go. Yeah, Bizmo skin. Custom made it was, but oh, there we go. Custom made this skin was. And this is the original. The original. What the? I hid a sheep in here. Sheepio. Okay. I guess I just hid blue sheep around. Why not? I guess. What was that? I keep losing my train of whenever I do these videos, I always lose my train of thought because I always get sidetracked by just weird stuff that's in these worlds and remembering that I made these things and having to fucking wrestle with like, people are gonna see this. Oh well. This is another really cool build of mine. It obviously this landmass is not original. I kind of just plucked this world. Because this world was just like a regular plains world or some shit. And I sort of just plucked the ground out, put it on here, and just sort of made this like, before we go to the top of it, I sort of just made like this. I really, really like the look of big platforms of land on top of like a shrinking pillar on the bottom, and then there's like this cave in the middle here, and I am a big fan of how this whole thing turned out. What is this called? Emotional damage. Oh, I forgot about this world. Oh, I forgot. This staircase obviously is not original. There's so many fucking frog lights in here. This is an expensive goddamn hallway, but it looks nice. So I just added this. This little thing was not here originally. I added that to have like, I'm also not a fan of having ladders to things. I prefer, I really, really like having staircases and being able to like walk to places, barring some exceptions, which we'll get to. But yeah, just I guess a lot of this is just like, hey, we're talking about Minecraft, we're talking about worlds, we're talking about stuff that we could do to make our lives a little bit easier. And you know, if you have a collection of worlds, I do want to say this. If you have a bunch of different worlds that you just kind of played on, did what you wanted to, and then you bailed, try doing this. Try like building a compilation peaceful world, right? Try having everything just sort of archived basically into one big thing, and then just come back to it every now and then. It's like, hey, I played on this world here and there. I got the map file. I'm gonna go into world edit. I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna add it here. We haven't even looked at. I think we've only looked at like half the world so far, and we're not leaving until we see the whole thing. So buckle in, folks. We're in it for the long haul here. So yeah, it's just kind of, we're just kind of talking about shit. I guess the title of this video I think is gonna be something along the lines of like, you're not missing anything. You don't need to worry, something like that. I don't know. I'll come up with something. Just because like that's kind of going back to like, my influence still has impact. This is kind of the mindset I want to imprint on, my audience and the people who watch my content. It's like, hey, you don't need to, like, I'm here specifically talking about Linux and retro gaming and weird other like controller things. I kind of wanted to do, when I was initially thinking of ideas for this channel, I had the idea of being like, oh, I'm the controller guy. I'm here reviewing weird controllers. I'm here talking about the designs of controllers and control schemes and stuff like that. And I very much still could do that. There's nothing stopping me. But it's also just like, why would I make videos talking about weird hardware when people can't really buy hardware anymore? I don't know. Controllers seem more affordable. It's a more accessible type of technology. I'll probably still talk about weird controllers here and there. I definitely will talk about the Steam controller too whenever that comes out, because I have been very excited for that thing for a long time, because I'm still a big fan of the original Steam controller. I am going to do a video in the near future talking about all the Steam controllers I personally own. So that'll be a fun one. But yeah, it's like, talking about hardware and stuff like that, it's a bit weird nowadays because people just can't buy things. So no one is interested in watching videos about hardware. And yeah, it sucks to some extent, but at the same time that opens up a new avenue we could go down. Now here's something I didn't talk about. So I actually did set up teleporters to just go to and from certain builds, and this is like the hub area in the castle, and then we can go back to Effigy Island, which is right here. I need to set up more of these because like this is a really fun idea. And then the Aether cluster. We'll go to the Aether cluster in a little bit after I show off this bit. Again, this was a creative world actually, and this big tree I built in creative. And I was so fucking happy with how this tree turned out that I had to save it. And a lot of these floating landmasses actually are from the original spawn of the world. And I kind of had the idea of like, this is like the big fucking like rich person zone or something like that. That's why they have the big emerald and what is this called? Quartz wall. Like the gigantic quartz wall. It's like, yeah, they keep out all the lesser people down here. Ugh. I don't know. I just like the idea of having this like walled off area with this big tree. There's nothing in this big tree. We'll walk around it for sure, but there's not a whole lot to it. A lot of these builds are just kind of unfinished. A big example is all of this down here. I want to add like a big sewer area, like the subterranean shunning grounds if you've played Elden Ring. Kind of like that. I fuck with that aesthetic heavy, and I kind of want to add that to my own builds. A lot of this is just ideas. Again, there's my little spire island design. And I also kind of want to build like a little suspension bridge going from here to this island and have like because obviously I like having walking paths to everything. So yeah, I mean a lot of these builds are just kind of unfinished, and it's just kind of we're walking around just looking at shit, talking about life and how fucking rough things are gonna be in the near future. It's important to remember that you're a person on this earth, right? You matter, you have impact, stuff like that. I'm reiterating a lot of these things because it's hard, it's easy to forget, especially nowadays, because a lot of the world is just so deeply impersonal. It's all about just attention and ideas and making a spectacle of things, and there is a growing shift of people making more personal content, stuff like this, where we're just walking around talking about nothing. There's that one guy who worked at 7-Eleven, and he's like at 1 million fucking subscribers right now because he works at 7-Eleven, and like that's just kind of his whole fucking steez, and he's just a guy, and that's cool. I'm happy for him. I'm glad that like he's able to make content while not being some sort of massive asshole, or being this like influencer type person. He's just a guy. And that's kind of it's what we need more of, honestly. We need more people who are just guys and gals, obviously. Don't want to discriminate. God, there was a video I watched recently where there was this girl from like Europe. I don't know where in Europe. I couldn't determine where her accent was from, but she had taken a 2014. Here you go. You can see a little bit of a preview of some other builds over here of what's to come. We will talk about those. We'll get to them. I promise. But she took an iMac G4, G5, one of the like original slab iMacs, and she turned that into a gaming monitor. And she gutted all the computer hardware and basically just put in like monitor hardware and replaced the panel in it too. So it became like a little panel for her Steam Deck. And I thought that was really fucking cool. And I know my dad has got some old Macs rotting in his closet. So I might try to do something similar with that. That might be a video in the future. You know, because like another thing that we can talk about is that a lot of tech YouTube today is just a lot about just buying shit. And it's like, oh yeah, this is the new thing that you can buy, that you can add on to your thing, and you can buy this. And it's like, I don't know. I'm kind of over just the videos about like buying things, you know? We could do a video instead about what you can do with hardware you already own. We could do videos about like, hey, do you have this piece of tech somewhere in your closet? You can repurpose it. You can jailbreak it. You can flash custom software. I saw a video this morning about jailbreaking Kindles, and I'm definitely going to be doing that. I got an old Kindle in my drawer somewhere. So definitely going to be jailbreaking that. I might do a video on it. I might not. I don't know. By the way, if anybody's interested, yell at me if I have not put these videos I'm talking about in the description also, because these videos are really cool. And like, it's a lot about like finding smaller creators too. It's like my sister complains to me sometimes. It's like, oh, I have nothing to watch on YouTube, and it's like, I get she's 14. Right, so she doesn't have the same outlook on things that I do, right? But if you go digging, there's some fucking diamonds out there. There's some goddamn diamonds in the rough out there for YouTube content. So, I mean, hey, if you happen to find me and you consider me one of those diamonds in the rough, thank you. That is very nice. But you know, again, just saying that even it feels a little bit like weird to think that, but whatever. That's just how it is. Okay, we're gonna get to. I'm stretching a little bit. Do a posture check real quick. It's been like an hour basically. Do a little bit of a posture check. Make sure you do some stretches. You know, stretch your fingers, stretch your shoulders. If you got this on in the background and you're playing a game or whatever, do a little bit of stretching. All right. We're going to move on to the Aether cluster. This is my pride and joy of my peaceful world. So one thing that I love doing is I love building floating islands. I have always loved the aesthetic of floating islands. And every chance I get, I make one. Oh yeah, and I put this tree over here in the Aether cluster because I feel like, you know, it fits. I have a lot of floating islands that I've built. And actually, this one has an important story behind it, and we will get to that. This one also, like, all of these have stories, basically. You know, a couple of these are from, like, these two over here are just from creative worlds that I was building on. So there's not really a whole lot of utility to them. It's just kind of, they look cool, you know, and the island itself, like the land mass, is custom built to, like, fit on the house that was built on top of it. I don't know. The land was built to accommodate the house, and the house was built, you know, for the land and stuff like that. They bled into each other. Same with this one. A lot of my islands ended up being like really flat and really like wide. So I wanted to experiment and do an island that was really tall and see what I could do with an island that was really tall. And I feel like I did something okay with it, you know. It could be better, but this was built years ago. So I have no idea when this island was built. That's one of the unfortunate things. This was the first floating island I ever built. And I've edited it, You know, this whole big chunk down at the bottom was not there originally. But you know, this it's a very square island, you'll notice. It's very, very square. And I tried to touch it up. I tried to adjust it here and there. I tried to add some things to it. But honestly, where it is right now, that's where it's going to stay. It's not the best floating island I've ever built, but it's still a floating island that I built. This will tell you. This right here will tell you how old this fucking build is. You could not place ender chests directly next to other chests because the game would try to combine them together. You had to do this to make it work. That alone will tell you how old this build is. So yeah, I think they all have, no, not all of them have names, but that's Angel Island 0.1. This is one that has a name. Some of these are from another creative world I was a part of. Like, this big structure was a creative world. This idea is like, oh, you know, there's like an end sorcerer, and he sort of built his little home on this floating island here because it feels right, and he's growing chorus fruit over here. Oh, this is just my home. I just built a little home right here. Here, you know what? Why am I flying through it? Let's just walk in. Jeez. Gotta have a storage room. All of my homes have to have storage rooms. That's just what I do. What was I even talking about before this? I don't even fucking know. We're just talking about the Aether cluster. We're not talking about anything important, right? We're talking about important stuff, but we're kind of not, and it's just kind of, it's free flowing. It's free flowing. I don't need to stress about it, and you don't need to stress about it either. So, it's fine. Ooh, over here, this is a fun one. This is the Bee Sanctuary. So I was experimenting with world edit a little bit, and I made this big sphere, and I decided to make half of it a glass dome and the other half a grass bottom. And, oops, spoilers, and, you know, it ended up being this, like, big dome, and I made this big tree in the side of it. It's the great bee tree. And it just became kind of like a farming area, almost. And there's like this little lake right here, and there's all these flowers and all that. And then inside, whoa, there's this big room in here. What does it do? I don't fucking know. Who cares? We're just building shit. You know, a lot of my building techniques, it doesn't really go too in depth on like interior design. I recognize interior design is not my strong suit. Oh, I didn't fix that. Okay, so the island cluster used to be over here. Now it is over here. I have moved it before, and I use teleport blocks to just manually transport myself up to, you know, the top of this building right here. Because he's a fucking end wizard. Of course he uses fucking teleport powers. So I have to fix that. I will fix that later. But yeah, I just this is my piss poor attempt at doing interior design, right? Let's get another end crystal and put that right there. There we go. So yeah, you can tell that like this shit ain't something that I'm like good at. I try my best, but most of my strengths when it comes to building is like practicality, you know? It's like building functional buildings instead of building like form buildings. Oh, okay. So this one was fun. So there was a time when I tried to do custom survival maps, and I had an idea of making sort of like a Skyblock-esque type map, but instead of Skyblock and it being very minimal, there would be, you know, islands that would, I think actually that originally was intended to be the starting island. I built the house on top of it just because I had the landmass, and I was like, oh, I'm just going to build a house on top of this. But this was definitely one of them. So I was going to have different islands where one was a mushroom biome and one was a desert, one was a jungle, and there would be all different biomes and all different types of floating islands. And I remember there's a little cave down here, and I hid a bunch of treasure in here. A little bit too much treasure. It probably would have been better if I only had 2 mushroom spawn eggs in here. But, and especially with the how much there are on top of here, it's, yeah. I clearly did not know what I was doing because I was like probably 15, 14, right? When I was designing this. And it's like, yeah, you go down here and then you get all this loot and it feels good to get loot, right? And it's like, well, I didn't, you got to think about like balancing and like what is too strong and what, boring game dev shit. Ooh, pardon me. My wrist just twitched there. Okay, so here's this one. So this island actually has a very important story. So the reason why I've stuck with this world above all else is because when I was messing around just generating land, actually, do I still have the original world? Is this it? Peaceful World Regen? Let me try this. Oh, hello, Axiom. Skip. Wow, whoa. How do I get out of this again? I completely forgot. Whatever. Yeah, okay, cool. So I still have it. I still have it right here. How the fuck do I get out of Axiom? Keybinds. Here we go. Basic. Rotate camera, crosshair, edit view, select biome, in-game. Here we go. No, Gizmo. Gizmo? My cat's name is Gizmo. Well, I will remember how to do this later. But yeah, this is how the world originally generated. And I just kind of spawned like somewhere over here. I walked over here and I found this floating island, this naturally generated floating island. And I'm like, damn. This is my forever world. I just kind of knew in the back of my head. So I built that castle in this big mountain area back here, and then I had a whole house on this floating island and everything. Yeah. It's just constantly building onto stuff. You know, it's just constantly working on stuff, building on things. What the fuck happened to you? And this was my original survival house. Ah! The first house, island is natural. Yep. And then you had ladders going up here, and it was this big fucking home, and you had all these storage boxes. Unfortunately, I lost all of the information on what was in these boxes. Sucks, I know, but it's just kind of how it is sometimes. When you're transferring stuff from world to world, and you're moving stuff around via world edit, some stuff's gonna get lost. It's fine, you know? It's kind of whatever. Big nether portal. One of the other big things I want to do with this world eventually is I want to, if it'll load, there we go. I want to make a big nether network of like all the different portals and where they are. And that's the thing, right? Is I like having warp points, but I really, really like it when there's a nether hub and you go to all the different areas of the world via the nether hub. That's going to be a big project because I'm going to have to manually line up all of these fucking portals everywhere. See, look at that. We came in through the same portal and we ended up down here at some point. So, yeah, it's going to be a lot of work lining up the portals manually, but it'll be really cool if it ever gets done. So, yeah. Oh, and then this one. There's a few other islands here, you know, that are just kind of like nature stuff. I just kind of built them just to build them, you know, like that building over there really serves no purpose. It's just kind of like a hub viewing gathering zone, I guess. One of the ideas I had is I wanted to build like a big airship on top of this or like a hot air balloon or something. And it's like the mysterious Elytra salesman or some shit. Like, I don't know. I'm just coming up with a bunch of different bullshit plans. But this one was entirely built in survival. Because this one was used in my, made in a server with my sisters. We'll actually go to that world, because there's a few builds over there that I still need to transfer over. But, creepers will fall, so you gotta kill those fuckers quickly. Yep. So, the mob spawner does work. But because, I was about to say, will we see any mobs drop? No, because this world is peaceful. We're not going to see anything in this world, because it is a peaceful world. Why did I build this second layer if it's not going to do anything? Huh? Oh, they fall down here. Oh, that's right. Okay, cool. So yeah, it does work. You know, I got a lot of gunpowder and I got a lot of shit down here. Fucking item organizer designed and built in survival. It even worked. All the chest content was still there. We built a ton of firework rockets. Oh my god, dude. It was really cool. And then obviously, you know, had to build some windows in so you could look out and see a bunch of stuff with some dripstone accents, and it looks really fucking cool. Yeah, and then you have an enchantment station up here. So many music discs. You would get so many fucking music discs from here. You have a whole station over here for doing your enchants and grinding experience and shit like this. It was a very, very cool project of mine, and it ended up being really, really cool. So I'm happy with how this island turned out, and I had to save it in this world somehow. And then I think the last thing we haven't talked about yet is this area over here. So a lot of my single player builds have been saved within the confines of this wall, right? A lot of other builds have just kind of ended up over here because they're so fucking big that I don't know where to put them. So here, we'll go to this build real quick. What the fuck was up with this build? Is there a sign here? No. So I remember the context of this world was that I found this big ravine, and I just built this like labyrinthine network of tunnels and stairs and platforms and all these things. And every platform had its own like purpose, and then there's this big fucking house on top that serves no purpose whatsoever. Here, you know what? We'll just walk through it here. We'll walk through right here. There we go. And then you got this big fucking open area right here with all of this shit walking around, and oh man. Like I said, I don't really build aesthetically pleasing worlds. I build utilitarian worlds. Everything that I build has to have a purpose, right? Well, I mean, has to serve some purpose, right? Like I'm no stranger to building garish eyesore buildings. But whenever I'm walking around, oh my god, I forgot how many fucking paths there are here. I think I specifically went out of my way to be like, nah, I don't really care if this is like fun to navigate. I'm the only one living in this world, so why would I make it easy to navigate for other people? You know? Just kind of whatever. Garbage disposal. Oh yeah, my nether portal down there. Here's the big storage room. Like I said, every world I build has to have a storage room. There's always got to be one. Netherrack surrounding the nether portal. You know, I really like that idea of having netherrack around everything. Oh. When the fuck did this happen? Hell, what? Whoa, what the hell? I think I'm gonna leave that, honestly. I think I'm going to leave that as it is. I think it's funny. Oh yeah, and here's the ravine. So yeah, just build like this giant fucking labyrinth basically inside this ravine, and it looks like shit because it's all made of cobblestone, right? Like it's not aesthetically pleasing at all, but like who gives a shit? Big ass farm here because I don't know why I built a farm outside. I think it was for the sheep. I think I built it for the sheep originally, and then I'm like, might as well just collect all the other animals down here. I guess. I don't know. I'm just kind of walking through this being like, man, there really is nothing inside this top house, is there? I just kind of built this shit. Yeah, there's like nothing in here. Why did I build a house this big? What the fuck was I on? Yeah, okay. I don't know, and I'm trying to like add accents to the roof and everything. Like, come on, brother. Like, I could have done way better. And way better I have done. So this mountain initially was, you know, it obviously didn't have a waterfront over here. I added all of this later on for, you know, use in the peaceful world. And I think this walkway looks a lot better than what I've made previously. What the hell is down here? Oh, it's a little well. That's cool. That's cool. So this, I mean, like most of the builds in the world, was another survival world. This is a really recent one. You can tell because of the cherry blossom. That was actually there in the survival world. And here we go. Here's like the... I'm not going to say it's peak, but I think is like the best execution of this idea, where you can see the netherrack is like reaching out of the portal, and it's like putting down soul sand and glowstone and a few other things here and there, and it's like reaching out to like toward my house and everything. I don't know. I feel like I did a pretty decent job with this execution. And here we go, back again to my extremely utilitarian design. So this initially was going to be like a big item sorting machine that I just never made because I didn't have the time for it. But it was only going to organize like a few items, like dirt and cobble and gravel and shit like that. Like all the other stuff here was just manually organized by me. So it's not, you know, I want to dip my toes more into redstone design and stuff like that, and redstone contraptions, because redstone can do a fucking lot in this game. But you know, I never really use it because my brain is not big enough for that. It's just not. Oh yeah, all the different walkways and things. Like I said, I like having walkways to everything. I don't like going down ladders. I don't like, you know, if I teleport, it has to be through like a nether highway hub system. That I think is cool. But I like having paths that lead to each part of the build, you know. I don't remember what this was for. I think this is just a naturally generating cave. Oh, and this! The big-ass log that's just in the side of the mountain that goes into like a little path into my house. Then there's the big cow farm. I actually designed this ranch sort of based on... This is back when I was watching Urban Rescue Ranch, the channel on YouTube, a lot. And I sort of looked at how he was designing, like how he was decorating his ranch and how he was keeping his animals. And I was just like, I can do something kind of similar to that. It's not perfect, obviously. It's not a very good recreation of Urban Rescue Ranch, but it's just like taking a little bit of inspiration here and there. Hello. Oh yeah, this is what was supposed to be like the actual house of the world, and I just never used it. I think there were villagers in here. Yeah, there were villagers in here. So this is where I would keep the villagers, I guess. Using jungle wood? I don't know why I use jungle wood. I guess just because it looks nice, especially in this texture pack. Good lord. Speaking of, pack.png. Candles. Okay, we've already been down there. Then what's up here? Oh yeah, the farm. Yeah, this farm ended up being really, really cool. Having some beehives here with some honey and shit. Like just a big ass wheat farm, because like, you know, you really only need wheat. Honest, in terms of crops to grow, you really only need wheat, because cows are the best food, and to breed the cows, you need fuck tons of wheat. So it just kind of made sense, right? Again, you know, I like building very utilitarian. You know, it's not very... There are certainly better builds out there, but it's, you know, it's something that I work on. And again, my building style is very labyrinthine and very very path oriented. So this was, I believe, the Buzzy Bees map. What did I call this? First attempt at a custom village. That's right. So I initially built this. I generated this world with the intent, because it was like the bee update, right? And I was like, oh, I'm gonna find bees somewhere. I never found bees. I never fucking found bees in this world. But I was just sitting around. Oh, man, back when the automatic fishing... Bring fish. Back when the automatic fishing thing, when this worked, this is, you know, how long ago it was. It was a few years ago. This doesn't work anymore. But it used to. And that's what's important, right? Big mountain in cave world. Oh yeah, I made full netherite armor. And I made full netherite, like I saved a lot of like the big gear I was using. Smack 'em, the forever pick. Oh yeah, this is the first fuck that thing way over there. So yeah, every time I make a big enchanted bow, I always call it something along the lines of fuck that thing way over there. Never built a bedroom. Never ended up building a proper bedroom. for myself in this world because it didn't matter. I didn't need a bedroom. I needed storage. I needed an enchanting room. And I needed... Okay, hold on. I'm using no clip too much. Here we go. And I needed a custom village. Oh, this staircase right here. There we go. Sometimes even I get lost in my own builds. It's crazy. So, yeah, here we go. Big farm for cows and for sheep. And there's probably going to be more down here, but you really only need cows and sheep. And here, we'll go over here because there's like a little path in here specifically to the village. There we go. So I displaced all of these villagers, but I built them their own little village. So I feel like it worked out. What was this supposed to be? The cartographer? I think? I don't know. Who fucking knows? Who fucking knows at this point? Yeah, all of these buildings were custom built, obviously, with the intent of it being like a village, and I wanted to design a village. Is Spelunky John still here? No. Okay, so I don't think the villagers, like, saved. Oh, no, they did! Spelunky John! Yeah, so this was a zombie villager that I found in a cave somewhere. And I put him in a boat, and I dragged his ass out of that cave, and I cured him. And he's Spelunky John, because I found him in a fucking, in a mine. And he sells me, like, good diamond tools for nothing, because I saved his life. So, yeah, you know, definitely worth it to do that. I also named all the villagers. I know that. I had a mending. Yeah, Helen. Yeah, she's the mending villager. So I had mending on all my shit. And I was really going ham with like building the custom villages and everything. I remember having other buildings over here for like Fletchers and shit. But I guess that just kind of got rolled back somehow. I don't remember. My brain barely works sometimes. So... maybe I'm just misremembering things. Father Grimaldi. Yes, Father Grimaldi. He's got a big church. And there's the big bell from like a real village. So if a raid happened, I don't think it ever did. But if a raid did happen, that'd be the bell that we would use. And then there's a bunch of room over here for a bunch of other stuff in the future. So I extended the wall out a little bit. Made it bigger. It gave myself a whole lot more space to work with. And this guy over here. So, oh, maybe I actually just straight up didn't finish the wall. Who knows? So, as you saw when I switched over to the other world, I'm using Axiom on this mod pack. And I was using Axiom just to kind of mess around with terraforming and making custom mountains and stuff. So this building over here is actually my sister's build from our server that we were on. So she has a very, very different style of building than me. She is very like detail oriented, and she likes having little accents here and there, and she does a bunch of this stuff over here. Like immediately you can tell that it is a very different building style than me. And we'll walk through this house for sure also. And we'll go to that, no, it'd be a bit too long to bring up all those to bring back that server and everything. So, I'll just have to do another video later on when I actually bring over all of my other builds from that same server. So I've only brought over her house and the mob spawner island, which I think is over there somewhere. Those are the only two things that I saved. My other sister has a house over there, and I also have a house over there, so I need to transfer those over and make that work. There it is. Yeah. Oh! Her secret little fucking nook of enchanting and storing and potions and all of that garbage. And then, did I remember this right? Yeah. She can't hide shit from me like that. Hold on. Is there a button somewhere in here? I don't know. Whatever. Just... oh, okay. It's right here. Yeah. So that was where she kept all of her secret shit. She showed me that one day, and I was like, oh, that's really cool, actually. I'm pretty sure this house is still good. Yeah, okay. So some of the yeah, I did kind of fuck up a little bit. Damn. All right. So in terraforming the mountain around her house, I kind of fucked up some of the interior bits. I'm hoping to fix that, but I don't know. We'll see if I actually get around to it. I think that's it. This little island over here, actually, this isn't naturally generated. This is just sort of me messing around with Axiom and just seeing what I can do, adding just way too much kelp to this ocean area, making this little mountain, again, with a little cave that you can boat through. I really like this aesthetic and how it, like, everything looks. I don't know. It looks nice. It looks nice. Certainly better than that. I save it anyway, just to remind myself of how far I've come. So yeah, that was a run through of my peaceful world. We've been here for like an hour and 15 minutes. That's pretty fucking crazy. I think that's everything though. Yeah, there's definitely plans. There's more stuff I could be doing. There's more stuff I could be adding. There's a couple other worlds that I just haven't transferred over yet. So, you know, that'll just have to, we'll talk about that again in a future video. So I'm definitely going to keep doing updates on this world because there's so much that goes into something like this. And I've been working on this world for like 15 years at this point, right? This is just a slow accumulation of all the different builds I've done, all the different things I've made, you know, just adding on to it, editing things, making it fit more together in this one world, tweaking stuff, like, it's a lot. It's a lot. And it's just a little project I've been doing for fun, you know? And, you know, when I'm done terraforming this whole area, I'm definitely going to be adding more stuff. I'm going to be increasing, like, you know, the wall kind of just stops right here. So I want to, you know, make the wall go a bit forward over in this direction, go past this, like, weird taiga swamp area, swoop around here. I don't know. I don't know yet. I'll figure that all out when the time comes, you know? So, hey, if you're still here watching this video, thank you. Because, ooh, posture check again, do a little bit of stretching. Because, you know, I feel like we just need more videos like these, where it's just like, hey, we're just gonna chill out for a little bit. We're just gonna play Minecraft. We're gonna talk about creation, we're gonna talk about, you know, how shitty things are getting and how we can make it a little bit better. And I didn't forget, hey, this is your last Minecraft. This is your last video for today. So go do something else. Please. Stop watching YouTube all day. Go do something else. Go improve your life in some way. Listen to a fucking album. You know, listen to an album, play a game you never played before. Fucking watch a movie, you know? All kinds of things you could be doing. And you shouldn't be wasting away on YouTube like I do often. So, yeah. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. Thank you to the executive lads who support me directly. It really means a lot. And yeah, I will see you all in the next video. Have a good one.